What's blooming in October? 12 late-season flowers. Going strong. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to GreenSpace Inspirations, where we turn every corner of your home and garden into a living story of color, calm, and quiet joy. If you're someone who finds peace in watering a plant before sunrise, who loves the smell of soil after the rain, or who still steps outside in autumn just to see what's blooming, this space was made for you. You and I both know that gardening isn't just about growing plants. It's about growing yourself. Patience, wonder, and the ability to find beauty, even when the seasons shift. And now, as the air turns cooler and the daylight softens, something magical happens in the garden. The loud, showy blooms of summer fade, yet a new kind of beauty begins to rise. Subtle, rich, and deeply alive. In today's video, we're taking a slow, mindful walk through the garden to discover 12 late-season flowers that are still going strong in October. Plants that refuse to fade quietly, each one with its own story of resilience and quiet power. So grab your tea, breathe in the crisp autumn air, and let's wander together. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to GreenSpace Inspirations, where every week we uncover nature's gentle secrets to help you create a home that truly breathes. Part 1. The Resilient Color Givers. As October deepens and most gardens grow quiet, a few bold flowers still stand tall, defying the chill, glowing like little lanterns in fading light. These are the resilient color givers, the ones that whisper, "Not yet." They remind us that beauty doesn't always bloom in perfect timing. Sometimes it waits for the cold to reveal its true strength. 1. Monkshood, the bold survivor. In every late-season garden, there's that one flower that refuses to fade quietly. And for me, it's the monkshood, also known as aconitum. Standing nearly 2 meters tall, its deep violet blooms rise like royal spires against the pale sky of October. When everything else bends to the cold, monkshood holds firm, its dark green foliage still shining as if untouched by time. It's a plant with character, elegant but fierce, delicate in appearance, yet strong enough to face autumn winds. And here's something few gardeners realize. Monkshood's beauty hides a dangerous secret. Every part of it, from the roots to the petals, is highly poisonous. Yet, just like life, sometimes the most breathtaking things come with caution and respect. For those with no small children or pets around, it's a stunning addition to the back of a border. Paired with soft white Japanese anemones or golden grasses, it creates a striking contrast that turns an ordinary fall garden into a masterpiece, a true symbol of endurance and mystery. The monkshood is October's final burst of courage. 2. Japanese anemone, the gentle whisper of autumn. While monkshood commands attention, the Japanese anemone speaks in soft tones, a quiet, graceful bloom that seems to dance with every breath of October wind. Its petals, often pure white or blush pink, appear almost weightless, glowing like moonlight against the darker greens of late fall. If monkshood is strength, anemone is serenity, the kind of flower that makes you stop and just breathe. What I love about this plant is how it thrives in partial shade and cooler soil, places where many flowers struggle. It's a friend to gardeners who understand that not everything beautiful needs to fight for the spotlight. It blooms patiently, asking for little, just a patch of calm ground and a bit of care through summer. For indoor gardeners, its symbolism resonates deeply. Grace under change. Like us, it stands tall even when days grow shorter, reminding us that slowing down isn't the end. It's the beginning of peace. In October, when the garden grows still, the Japanese anemone whispers, "Beauty is in what remains." Part 2. Nature's textured finale. As the vibrant colors of summer fade, the garden begins to speak a new language, one of shape, texture, and quiet endurance. The petals may fall, but beauty remains in the curve of a stem, the shimmer of seed pods, and the golden sway of grasses. This is autumn's grand finale. Not loud, but deeply soulful, painted in whispers of bronze, cream, and light. 3. Seed pods and emperor shapes. That stay, the art of stillness. When the bright petals fade, something magical happens. The garden reveals its bones, its quiet architecture. The seed pods of plants like Rudbeckia, Echinacea, and Hosta become tiny sculptures, holding the memory of summer within them. In the low October light, they shimmer like spun gold, each one telling a story of growth, bloom, and graceful surrender. Many gardeners rush to cut everything back, but I've learned that patience brings reward. These dried silhouettes feed the birds through winter and protect small insects sheltering beneath. And visually, they bring an unexpected poetry, a mix of wild beauty and soft imperfection. I often leave the garden untouched, letting the wind scatter seeds naturally. There's peace in that, knowing nature will take care of what comes next. In this stillness, the garden feels alive in a quieter way. It's a reminder that not all beauty fades. Some simply changes form and waits for spring to come again. 4. Ornamental grasses. The garden's golden echo. When most flowers bow to the chill, ornamental grasses rise into their moment of glory. Their feathery plumes catch every glint of sunlight, turning entire borders into waves of gold and silver. I often think of them as the music of the garden. They don't bloom loudly, but they move, rustling softly with every breeze, adding rhythm and grace long after petals are gone. Varieties like fountain grass, switchgrass, or miscanthus bring structure and warmth to cool October days. They thrive where the soil is humble and demand little care, perfect for busy gardeners who still crave elegance. In the early morning light, you'll see dew resting gently on their blades like strings of pearls, and by afternoon, they glow like a sunset in motion. Beyond their beauty, grasses give back, sheltering wildlife, feeding birds, and protecting soil through winter. They remind us that endurance can be beautiful too. In every whisper of wind through their leaves, the garden says, the season may change, but life continues. Part 3. The self-sowers and hidden helpers. Just when you think the season is over, the garden surprises you. Tiny green shoots appear where you never planted them. Nature's quiet way of saying, I've got this. These are the self-sowers and hidden helpers, the blooms that return year after year without invitation. They thrive in forgotten corners, proof that beauty doesn't always need our control, only our trust. 5. Cosmos. The cheerful optimist. Few flowers capture the spirit of effortless joy like the cosmos. Even in October, when many blooms are fading, its feathery stems still rise proudly, topped with pink, white, or magenta petals that seem to float in the crisp air. There's something almost childlike about the way they sway, carefree, content, and full of light. Cosmos are self-sowers, meaning they return each year without much help. I often find them popping up in unexpected places, along pathways, between stones, even among the vegetables, as if reminding me that life finds its own way to bloom. And the best part? They thrive on neglect. A patch of sunlight, modest soil, and a bit of love is all they need. For gardeners who juggle busy lives, cosmos are gentle teachers of spontaneity and grace. They whisper, you don't have to do everything right, just give things a chance. In the slowing rhythm of October, they keep the spirit of summer alive, one delicate petal at a time. 6. Snapdragons and marigolds. The unexpected comebacks. When you think the growing season is finished, snapdragons and marigolds often surprise you with one last encore. After a gentle trim in late summer, they return in October, stronger, brighter, and somehow more determined than before. Their blooms may be smaller now, but their colors feel deeper, like nature's way of painting with autumn light. Snapdragons, with their playful dragon-mouth petals, bring bursts of pink, yellow, and coral to fading beds. Marigolds, in their glowing orange and gold, stand beside them like tiny suns that refuse to set. Together, they remind every gardener that endings can be beautiful too. These are flowers for the hopeful, for people who keep nurturing even when the world grows cold. They don't ask for perfection, just persistence. And when they bloom again, it's as if the garden itself smiles, saying, "See, even now, life finds a way." For anyone who loves growing beauty against the odds, these late-season comebacks feel like a reward well earned. Part 4. The quiet strength beneath the frost. As the chill deepens and frost begins to lace the mornings, some plants don't retreat. They transform. Their colors soften, their forms tighten, yet their spirit remains strong beneath the cold. These are the quiet strength keepers of the garden, thriving not in abundance, but in endurance, reminding us that resilience often grows in silence. 7. Sedum, the autumn sculptor. When most flowers surrender to frost, sedum stands proudly, sculpted and serene. Its fleshy leaves hold the last of summer's warmth, while its clustered blooms turn from soft green to shades of dusty rose and copper. Under October's low sunlight, sedum glows like stone touched by fire, a living sculpture that needs no perfection to shine. What makes this plant remarkable is its patience. It thrives in poor soil, endures drought, and rewards even the most forgetful gardener. Varieties like Autumn Joy or Touchdown Teak bring color long after others fade, offering texture and form that last well into winter. I often think of sedum as the slow heartbeat of the garden, steady, grounded, and wise. It doesn't demand much, yet it gives endlessly. Whether in a sunny border or a small balcony pot, sedum teaches us one of gardening's quiet truths, that beauty grows best when it's allowed to rest, store, and simply be. 8. Verbena bonariensis, the wind dancer. If sedum is the stillness of autumn, Verbena bonariensis is its movement, tall, airy, and endlessly graceful. With its slender stems crowned by clusters of violet blooms, it sways like a dancer in every gust of wind. Even when storms roll through and heavier plants bend or break, Verbena remains, flexible yet unyielding, bending but never giving up. I remember one October when a sudden storm flattened most of my dahlias. But there it was, the verbena, still standing tall, its blossoms trembling but unbroken. That sight changed how I saw my garden. It wasn't just a flower, it was a symbol of quiet strength. Butterflies and bees adore it, even in late autumn, when food becomes scarce. And for gardeners, it's pure poetry. A reminder that resilience doesn't mean resisting change, but flowing with it. In the golden afternoon light, verbena dances softly, whispering, "You can bend without breaking." Part 5. The Unsung, Heroes of Late October. Just when the garden seems ready to rest, a few humble stars step forward. The unsung heroes of October. They may not demand attention, but their quiet blooms brighten borders and fill empty spaces with hope. These are the flowers that prove beauty doesn't need to be loud to be lasting. It simply needs to show up, even at the very end. 9. Autumn Daisy, the late-flowering chrysanthemum. When the evenings grow shorter and the air turns sharp, autumn daisies, or late-blooming chrysanthemums, arrive like a final applause from nature. Their golden and blush-pink petals unfold when almost everything else has faded, filling the garden with warmth just as the year cools down. It's as if they wait for the stage to clear, then step into the spotlight with quiet confidence. I love how they bridge the seasons, soft enough to belong to summer, yet bold enough to face winter. Plant them early, prune them back in midsummer, and they'll reward you with a full, bushy burst of color that lasts deep into November. For gardeners who often feel nostalgic this time of year, these daisies are a gentle comfort. They whisper, "It's okay to slow down. The world still holds beauty." Whether lining a walkway or brightening a patio pot, they bring joy when we need it most. proving that even the year's ending can feel like a new beginning. 10. Salvias, the last sparks of color. As the garden prepares for rest, salvias emerge as the season's final burst of energy. Their slender spires of violet, magenta, or deep red seem to hum with life, drawing bees and hummingbirds, even in the cool air of late October. When most blooms have given up, salvias keep on shining, delicate yet determined, offering one last encore before winter's curtain falls. Varieties like Salvia Amistad or Hot Lips are my personal favorites, playful names for flowers that thrive on sunlight and attention. Deadhead them gently in late summer, and you'll often see a second wave of blossoms just as the rest of your garden begins to fade. They're the kind of plants that reward persistence, much like the gardeners who grow them. And when that autumn sunlight catches their petals, you'll see what I mean. A flash of color so vivid it feels like the garden itself is saying, "Not yet. There's still more to give." In that moment, you understand. October doesn't end in silence, but in song. Part 6. Reimagining the end of the season. As the final petals fall and frost begins to trace the edges of leaves, the garden shifts from color to contemplation. This is the moment many gardeners feel torn, between tidying up and simply letting nature rest. But what if the end of the season isn't an ending at all? What if it's the garden's way of teaching us to slow down, reflect, and begin again? 11. Embracing the imperfect garden beauty in decay. By late October, perfection fades, and that's exactly when the garden becomes most honest. The petals curl, the stems lean, and the edges turn to bronze. Yet in this quiet transformation lies something profoundly beautiful: truth. The garden shows us that every stage of life has its own kind of grace. I've learned not to rush to clear it all away. The fading blooms, the dry leaves, even the fallen petals, they belong here. Birds find seeds to eat, insects find shelter, and the soil rests under its own blanket of nature's debris. It's not neglect, it's balance. For gardeners who struggle with the need to keep things neat, this is a gentle reminder. Growth doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks peaceful. Sometimes it looks wild. And in that imperfection, the garden breathes freely, teaching us that beauty is not something we control, but something we allow. 12. Preparing for renewal. The promise beneath the soil. As the garden quiets and the air turns sharp, it's easy to think everything has ended. But beneath the soil, life is only pausing. Not gone, just gathering strength. Roots pull in the last nutrients, seeds harden for winter, and bulbs settle into sleep. It's a quiet preparation, the kind that reminds us that rest is part of growth. This is the perfect time to nurture without rushing. Scatter collected seeds, spread a layer of mulch, trim what's necessary. Not to tidy, but to protect. I always think of it as writing a letter to spring, one that begins with care and ends with hope. For those who love both indoor plants and outdoor spaces, this season mirrors our own lives. We too need pauses, times to store light, rebuild, and dream. The garden doesn't mourn what's ending, it prepares for what's next. Beneath every bare branch and sleeping root, renewal is already taking shape. When the garden dreams, and so as we leave our October garden behind, filled with the soft rustle of grasses, the quiet strength of sedum, and the last defiant blooms of salvias, we realize something profound. The garden never truly ends. It only changes rhythm. Every fading petal, every drifting seed, every whisper of wind carries a promise of return. For those of us who love tending plants, whether on a sunny windowsill, a small balcony, or a wide, wild yard, this is our season to reflect. We learn that beauty isn't found only in growth, but also in letting go. That rest is not the absence of life, but its preparation for renewal. So as you watch your own space settle into stillness, take a deep breath and listen. The earth is dreaming, and spring is already stirring beneath your feet. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's still blooming in your garden this October? Which flower refuses to quit? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else's garden to bloom again. And if today's journey brought you peace or new ideas, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our growing community here on GreenSpace Inspirations, where nature teaches us how to grow, not just plants, but ourselves.